Warning: the views and opinions expressed in this program are our own and/or those of our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our employers. Viewers' discretion is advised.
There's a need out there for fast capital, and we as SBA lenders are not able to scratch that itch.
I don't consider a lot of other SBA lenders competition. I consider alternative lenders where you can go online and get money in 4 to 8 hours. That's my competition.
Alan Peterson, no, who's this?
Never heard of who's this. All right, let's get Roshko back to doing Miami things. He's a busy guy. He's got merchants to cash advance.
Stop. Are you serious?
I'm not like you. I'm not a banker, so I work 24/7.
You do MCA?
Oh, he didn't know this.
Oh, you didn't know?
I had no idea.
God.
This is
Oh, this is going to be fun.
We're recording live. I love it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the BDO Show, a podcast for passionate BDOs wanting to level up their game with advice and stories from battle-tested BDOs. I'm your host, Emily, and I'm here with my fellow co-hosts, Chris Hackney, Sterling Birdsong, and Ryan Kroge. At the beginning of each episode, we're always going to remind you to like, subscribe, and send over topics and suggestions to the BDO Show at artofsba.com, and check out our whole family of shows, SBA Today and the Art of SBA Lending podcast. Okay, BDOs, it's story time. And no, I am not talking about the time Sterling tried to finance a zoo. You'll have to go back to episode 3 for that. I'm talking about the story that your borrower has in their head, and they may need that extra boost to finally get it onto paper. Rapid Business Plans is a known and trusted partner that can help them do just that. Whether your borrowers are working towards acquiring a business, starting one up, or expanding and making moves, within just a few short days, Rapid Business Plans will deliver powerful, fast, SBA and USDA ready business plans with projections and assumptions. If they need an export business plan for an ITL loan or a feasibility study, they have you covered there too. We know this process is not a walk in the park, or should I say zoo. Let the Rapid Business Plans team take some of the wild out of the process so that your borrower's vision and passions can come to life. For more information or to get acquainted, email Bethany McClellan at bethany@rapidbusinessplans.com or click the link in the show notes.
We're taking our team to Cine Bistro for the movies, but really what we're doing, Hannah's getting promoted to vice president, and in between the trailers and the movie, we're going to do a slideshow. It's a surprise that she's getting promoted in the movie
she'll
theater.
Be promoted, and this episode will come out, so she'll know we were talking about it.
No, this is happening Friday. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, she will, actually.
Hey, Hannah, congratulations. We heard it here first. I'm so excited. Okay, today's episode, we are going to be talking about Are Brokers the New BDO? This will be a fun topic because we also have a guest with us. Everybody, we want to introduce you to Alex Roshko. Alex, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Miami's finest.
Miami's finest.
You know, I'm based in Miami. I'm in the finance industry for about 25 years. My background, I did residential mortgages. One day, one of my borrowers mentioned that he wants to buy a business. He wants to buy a gas station. And that's how it started. I remember the process. I went to Bank United. That was 20 years ago. It wasn't a difficult process because Merchant was very well, perfect credit score from what I remember, had a lot of money in savings, and he already owned a gas station. So it was a walk in the park. That was a long time ago. Then in 2008, when real estate market, 2008, I believe, when real estate market went upside down, I had something to do. So I started looking into business financing, and I enjoy working with business owners to the level that, I sleep and I work, believe it or not. No matter what I do, anywhere I go, I meet business owners, I promote myself. At this point, I'm on Globland Capital, which been around. Globland as a brand been around for 25 years. Business financing, I started in 2008. And SBA is a big portion of our business. I met guys like Chris Hackney, Alan years ago that really helped me out.
And so, what do you primarily focus on now, Alex? Because I know obviously we had we're laughing about the MCA thing, and I know that's obviously a part of what you do. And then we're not laughing by any means because we think it's a joke or funny. It's a really legitimate thing that you're doing. So talk to us a little bit about what you do currently.
Yeah, what exactly is MCA besides one of the Beastie Boys?
You're so
MCA,
annoying.
it stands for Merchant Cash Advance, which is a purchase of your future receivable at the discount, right words. Merchant Cash Advance, they get done in a matter of one day. Uh, you know, if you're a business owner, you need capital tonight because there's a auction and you can buy, parts or, raw materials at 10 cents on a dollar. You need money today. You're willing to pay a top dollar for it. Okay, they're private money. They're not insured by the, federal government. Although right now, some insurance companies are securitizing some merchant cash advances. The longest term you get is 36 months. You need to have a decent credit score, time in business. It's very much driven to up to, I would say, $300,000 loan amount. You're driven by bank statements only. Okay, just a revenue. You can finance somebody in a matter of 24 hours, 48 hours.
24 hours?
Yeah.
In by 10, out by 2. So
That's crazy. So all I need is 4 months bank statements and you can get me MCA debt? That's great.
You need absolutely, you need an application. Actually, MCA is not considered debt.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
it's a revenue-based finance.
Oh, so you don't have to deal about usury or anything. So you can just make it rain.
Don't forget, I'm not a lender, I'm not a funder, I'm a broker.
Okay.
My job is
Nicely done, Alex. Nicely done. He's got media training. He's prepared.
to match the borrower with the lender.
Gotcha.
Okay, but
Yes.
it's not easy. You need to know the guidelines. It's a lot of questions that I have to ask to determine if they're a good candidate, because the business owner, when he comes to you, he needs working capital. He needs it yesterday, right?
That's right.
He's not the only guy I'm going to go to. So you have to be extremely professional. Not, it's not as much as paperwork and guidelines, and hoops of fire to jump through like SBA.
So it's more like suitability, right? You got to find what's suitable for the borrower in their time of need and whatever that is. And you're the guy to find the lender that's suitable for them, right?
And that's what I do appreciate about Alex. So a true loan broker is going to place the client in what they need at that current point of time. What's the best fit for their need, whether it's urgency, rate, repayment. Everybody's got a different need, right? We all want to offer the best rate and terms, but sometimes it's I need cash today to pay my payroll tomorrow, and that's just it is what it is, right? So that's what a good loan broker does. Now, what I take issue is if you call in yourself a broker and you only offer one product that, for some may think it's not the best product, or you're only offering MCAs or factoring, that's when it's like, okay, are you really looking out for your client's best interests? But if you're offering an array of products and options for them, SBA, MCA, factoring, based on the client's needs and what they need, then, that's providing a service.
There's obviously a need for it in the market, or else the product wouldn't exist. I mean, I think that we all have our feelings about the product and what it costs borrowers ultimately, because obviously there's much higher fees associated with these quote unquote loans, but really they're not really loans. They're basically future receivables. But the truth is that a lot of business owners, they need money, they need it fast. And maybe if they had a little bit more time to plan and say, hey, I want to go through an SBA process, they could wait 60 days for funding. But oftentimes they don't, be it because maybe an opportunity arises immediately, or because maybe it's even poor planning on the business owner's part. It's a multitude of different reasons why you may find yourself looking at MCA debt. But the truth is that there's a need out there for fast capital, and we as SBA lenders are not able to scratch that itch. and MCA lenders are. And as long as they're able to fund within one day, like Alex said, they're always going to have a place in the market because ultimately speed kills.
Well, this is great. I'm learning something new every day. This is fantastic stuff. I appreciate you, Alex, for coming on and educating on us. This is great.
And this is what we're competing against as SBA lenders, the speed thing. We do a lot of small working capital loans at my bank, and I don't consider a lot of other SBA lenders competition. I consider alternative lenders where you can go online and get money in 4 to 8 hours. That's my competition. I have to be reducing my speed as quickly as they are, right? So it's not other SBA lenders. I need to be as fast at doing what they do. And in fact, the way we look at loans now, we're assessing bank statements. We do bank statement cash flows. We're not looking at a tax return that's from last year, that's antiquated, that's old, and not a representation of current present day cash flows. So we've actually picked up some things to match some of this competition that's out there too, because a lot of the loans that are funded, at least unit wise, are in the small loan space. And the alternative is alternative funding. So we as SBA lenders have to compete. Not only we have a good product, right? We all know that, but we have to compete on the speed side of things in order to let our product continue to grow.
See, that's why I like SBA, because I just want to take it nice and slow.
Well, with SBA, you can definitely do that.
You can definitely, yeah. You ever heard of USDA loan? Emily,
Oh,
bring us out of
get me started on that.
Bring us out of MCA land. This is where we
Okay.
All right, turn us left, please. Thank
And I
you.
don't know if we discussed, Alex, what kind of broker are you again? Are you a
I'm a loan broker, business loan broker. I consider my company a business loan agency.
okay?
Oh, all
Okay.
right.
I deal with a very small mom and pop, businesses. I even have a program for one man show owner operator that has one truck. I can get him some capital. And I also, I have a company right now that, I've funded them for 4 million, right about to refinance them into 7 million merchant cash advance. The company does 250 million a year. So we deal with very small business owners, with very big business owners. Don't discriminate, either small or big guy, they'll get the same honest opinion. And we never steer anybody. If it's a very small business that does $30,000, small pizzeria or whatever, okay, we'll, and a credit is, we'll do soft credit pool. We'll see where they at. And if this credit is 580 or 610, I'm not going to bother asking them for a tax return. We'll get the best option we can and we put it in front of them. And if it helps them, we'll help them make an intelligent decision. Very often you talk to a merchant, hey, how fast do you need the capital? Well, I'm not in a rush. Okay. And you start the SBA process. And then in 30 days, in 60 days, all of a sudden you see there's a new UCC, sometimes 2 new UCCs in a business, and they took money from a competitor. Do you know that hurts? Because you put a lot of time in it just to realize, you don't have a deal because they just took a short term and there's UCCs everywhere. So I'll present a business owner with all of the options and we'll help them make the decision.
Hey guys, we have a special announcement for anybody involved in M&A transactions. Our partner, Peak Business Valuation, have put together a resource just for BDO show listeners, and they're giving it away for free. It lists out the rule of thumb formulas, or as Kroge would like to say, the down and dirty, for some of the most common industries that SBA lenders finance. I promise you it's going to come in handy. Kroge's literally still using the one he got from Nagel in 2002. By the way, if you're not thinking about evaluation at the pre-screen phase, you are missing the boat. A lot of BDOs tend to focus on the debt service coverage and they're missing the valuation completely. That's a rookie move and it will become a problem. As a consultative BDO, you should have a sense of whether the business is going to value out. And Peak's handy dandy rule of thumb is here to help. Go to peakbizval.com/BDO show to get yours today. So we have Alex on the show because he's a business loan broker. And I wanted to kind of explain to all of our listeners the different types of brokers that we may encounter in our career. So Kroge, why don't you go ahead and explain the difference between brokers, loan broker, business broker? Shoot.
So a broker is any intermediary that's going to be able to connect one person to another, one business to another. So you can have all types of different brokers out there, right? You're going to have a loan broker who's going to be able to connect a lender or multiple lenders with a borrower depending on their needs and their suitability, which is what Alex is. You're going to have a business broker who's going to either list or help a buyer find a business, connect a buyer to a business or a seller to a buyer on a brokerage side. Or you can have a real estate broker who's going to connect a buyer or a group of buyers to commercial real estate to be able to buy them. So there's a bunch of different brokers. My dad was a gun broker. He would be able to connect different countries with different ammunition salespeople to be able to
Wild.
sell
We didn't know
munitions.
that.
Oh, you didn't
I've been
know
hanging
that?
out with you for a year and something on this show, and I just found this out.
So he used to sell M16s, M4s to foreign affiliated company allies, if you will, like Israel, Egypt at the time. And then he graduated to tanks, had one of his customers that's now one of my customers.
You've
Make me
been
this.
cool this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm so annoyed.
I was actually, what was pretty cool, and I'll say this now because I think the statute of limitations is up. When I was 13, I had the M1A1 Abrams schematics on my wall as like a piece of art on my wall. And then my dad got in trouble because somebody found out that he took it and put it on his child's wall as a piece of wall art, and that was supposed to still be top secret. But I also had the shell casing. So a shell casing from that M1A1 Abrams tank as my waste paper basket in my room.
And now the more you know, the more you know.
Yeah, so my dad used to sell guns and tanks to allied countries, but he was a broker doing that. And he's retired and he still negotiates. So there's different types of brokers. I went from one extreme to another. I went from industry
Yeah,
to industry.
thank you, Kroge. Bring it back. I was like, where did we start? I'm going to step in, if that's okay, Emily, for a little bit here and talk to my good friend Roshko. So, Roshko, you're obviously working with multiple lenders. Like, what makes a good relationship outside of referral fees and all that? We all know that's part of the decision and consideration. What's a good relationship for you look like for a lender?
Speed. How fast you're gonna get back to me? Your availability. Speed and communication, which I think Bay First, especially you, Chris, and everybody I work with there, are excellent in that respect.
How many SBA lenders do you, and you don't have to give me names, but like how many do you work with? And do you have like a grid of
I work with approximately 5.
5? Okay. And then, so you get a client, walk me through your process. You get a client that's an SBA fit. Let's say the deal that we're working on, that's the acquisition of the mental health and practice out in Colorado. Like, do you have a grid of who does what and how do you determine where you place those? Again, outside of fees, but what does that look like?
It's kind of easy, Chris, because you don't do every industry type. If I get a restaurant, I got a couple of restaurants right now. You guys will not touch a restaurant unless it's a franchise, right? If it's an e-commerce company, that's a pretty big list when it comes to, we're a gun manufacturing company, gun sales range, So not every lender has a different appetite for certain things. You ask a very good question. What's important besides the fees? It's a speed and communication. There's some banks that I always go to shows. I see you guys at the shows, and with some banks, you can get them on the phone when you have a question. When I know when I have a question, I'll call you. You'll answer the phone, and even if it's Saturday or Sunday, you're gonna get back to me.
Alex will text me on the weekend and say, well, he won't call me. He'll just text and say, call me. And you never know if that call me is, hey, happy birthday, or hey, let's go to a game, or this deal fell out. Like, you never know what that call me. Like, are you in distress or not? So I always enjoy like, the unknown of calling Alex. And when I get in the text, call me with an exclamation mark.
Chris, honestly, it's a little bit of knowledge, you know. If I have a question about a purchase or refund, whatever it is, I want to be able and pick up the phone and speak to you guys. Most of the banks out there, SBA banks, you can get an answer. You can get them on the phone. You'll email them. You'll get an email back maybe in 24, 48 hours, maybe.
Maybe. That's unfortunate.
You
What
know?
you need to do is you need to call my buddy Alan Peterson. He is like the man when it comes to SBA lending here at the internet. I know he's not on here today, but have you ever met Al?
Never.
Do you know Alan?
Never heard of him.
You never heard of him? Yeah. I just met him
Alan
for the first
Peterson, no, who's this?
Never
Who's
heard.
this?
Who's this?
Who is that?
Never.
Record that as a sound clip, Madison.
Yeah, that's
and
the
send
clip.
it to me.
Alan Peterson.
That's the
Alan
clip.
Peterson.
I
Who's
need that
this?
sound
Who's
clip.
this? Yeah.
You're talking
Alan
about,
Peterson,
you're
who
talking
is
about
this?
Vegas Al. I gave him a nickname.
Vegas Al.
Vegas Al. Yeah.
Vegas
Nice.
Al.
Yeah, I think he's actually the one who coined Vegas Al. I think that actually was Roshko's.
We don't
It
talk
was.
about
Nickname for
Vegas
Al.
Al anymore.
Oh, I
Yeah.
want to talk about Vegas Al all day. That's my favorite.
Vegas Al left the
Yeah, my
podcast a long
favorite
time
subject.
ago. Alan Peterson could be back at any time, but Vegas Al will never be back again.
That's a shame.
He left his roller bag with 3 wheels in Vegas, and we haven't seen him since. Do you think that there is going to be a world where brokers would go directly to lenders?
Yeah, I do think there's a world where that happens. If they're the ones who are doing the sourcing and they actually know how to scrub deals, then I think that there could be a situation where the BDO starts to get cut out. And I would take it even a step further. I could see a world where even essentially the brokers start to get cut out and banks start going directly to these lead generation people. I had a lead generation guy talk to me earlier today, and he deals with some different MCA lenders and some different SBA lenders, and really he deals primarily with brokers, but he's the one feeding these people the raw data, and then they have their own team of people who are reaching out to these warm leads, and then basically they're funneling them into a lender. The bank could say, why don't we just cut the BDO out or turn the BDO into essentially a processor, and why don't we cut the broker out, and instead of paying out these points, why don't we just hire a staff of people who are going to beat the phones and just have these people reaching out to these warm leads. A really entrepreneurial bank could do that. Now, would that bank be doing MCA lending? No, they'd be doing SBA lending or something else. But there is a world where they say we want to go direct to consumer a little bit more, and make it more like some of the other lending spaces, like consumer loans, for example, or like auto loans, or like residential loans, where there's no loan broker for any of these other types of loan products out there. One day, maybe there is a situation where that also happens for commercial loans as well. We're not there yet, but I think as banks look at a way to cut costs, we have to be realistic and know that we are replaceable, because we are
Speak for yourself. I'm not replaceable.
We are an expensive piece
You
of the
can't
puzzle.
replace me. Do you know who I
Right.
am?
Kroge will be the last one left. It'll be Kroge and AI. That's all.
First
we're
Yeah.
one
gonna
in,
have.
last one out.
That's right.
In 2035, banking's just going to be Kroge and AI. You got to go to one. Choose your poison. Either you're dealing with Kroge or you're going to the cloud.
Oh,
So,
He's yelling at AI with his printed paperwork out.
Exactly.
AI,
So,
who is that?
I don't
Alan Iverson?
think it's gonna happen anytime soon, in my opinion.
you don't think so, Alex? Tell me about that. Why not?
No, look. When you shop for the health insurance, right? Okay, it doesn't matter if you go through a broker or directly to a company. You get the same price, right? It's the same price. An insurance, every broker has the same price. Okay, but what they need is they want somebody to hold your hand. So you guys, BDO, I think you're gonna be more of a relationship, guys. More of a relationship, more of an expertise, somebody that knows on how to properly submit the file to have a better chance in getting to the finish line.
That's right, Alex. If you ever need anybody to hold your client's hand, I'll hold their hand for you.
Thank
Here you go.
I'm that guy.
He says, here you go.
Not Alan Peterson.
Who's this?
Who's Al Peterson? You keep bringing up
Alan
his name.
Peterson?
Never heard of the
Who
guy.
is this? Who is this?
What about Chris? What are your thoughts on the changes to the fees in the SBA today?
So I just had a conversation with one of our other employees. It's going around. So Okram, if you don't know, that's the Office of Credit Risk Management. I hope I got that
That is
right.
correct.
I hope you said it wrong.
Nailed it.
So that's the kind of the credit arm of the SBA. So the SBA is out in the public. Yeah, we want to do this. Okram behind the scenes is like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. Or, they oversee your Paris scores, your performance as a bank, your net cumulative yield. I won't call them the police because they may watch the show, but they're the guys you want to make sure you're in their good graces at the end of the day, right? So what Okram has been doing, they've been sending notifications to a lot of banks. I think it's everyone at this point. They've been cracking down on fee structures. So there's the CFR, which is the Code of Federal Regulations, and there's the SOP. The SOP, which is a standard operating procedure for SBA, that's the interpretation of the CFR. So in the new SOP that was been out, I think it's been out a year and a half, 2 years now. The new SOP says you can pay a referral fee and a consulting fee to a broker, right? That's what it says. And I'm paraphrasing here. The CFR never really changed. It doesn't say that. So Okram is going around and reminding people that, hey, if you're paying John Smith, the broker, a referral fee, they cannot also receive a consulting fee from the client. Now, Kroge, you probably don't see this much in the BizAc or the M&A world, but in the working capital debt refinance world, I won't say it's commonplace, but you will be more likely to see it there than on a business acquisition transaction with a business broker. So what that means is, let's say for Alex, for example, he's working with the client. That client has agreed to pay a 1 or 2% consulting fee, and the bank, we are going to pay him a 1% referral fee. The SBA has pretty much told us, not pretty much, they have told us that can no longer happen. It's either one or the other. And that consulting fee is capped. If you're getting paid as a percentage of the loan at 2%, it's capped at $30,000. So in doing that, basically I called Roshko and a few of our other referral partners. And we have a referral partner manager who kind of did the rest of the work there, and just letting them know that, hey, if you get caught doing this, we're done. We can't work with you, because they track this, right? Okram tracks this. They see the fees. It has to be disclosed on the 159 forms. I'm all for the changes to fees and whatever makes it reasonable for borrowers, because, paying a 2% consulting fee, our SBA loan rates are good, but there's fees and guarantee fees attached to that. It does get expensive. What I don't appreciate is maybe the timing of it. So you send this out and then it's like kind of the same thing with citizenship, like it's effective today, right? And then you have to kind of go and kind of unwind some things or deals that are in queue. How do you handle and manage those? But I'm all for whatever makes the borrower's cost of borrowing the cheapest. I'm all for that. And at the end of the day, referral partners, they deserve to get compensated for what they do in bringing businesses to the bank too. So there's got to be a happy medium. I've been dropping a lot of rumors that have come true out here. So you might want to bookmark this episode. I do feel there might be some sort of cap on referral fees that gets instated at some point. You didn't hear it from me. You didn't hear it from me.
I hope so.
But you
that.
heard it on the BDO show. So I do feel like there's going to be some sort of shakeup in the referral fee, consulting fee landscape of what we do in SBA. And I think that's okay. I think that levels the playing field. As someone who has bought business and created the 3% referral fee, I'll own that. It's not a good, 3 for me. I don't think that's the right way to go about it for the borrower, is buying business, right?
That's right.
Back to Roshko's point, we provide expertise, we provide rate, like we're not insurance brokers, we're providing a service. It should be based upon that where you get placed for your loan, not because of the highest referral fee.
It'll be interesting to see if that actually does come into effect. And, Chris certainly does have the crystal ball.
You didn't hear it from me, though. You didn't hear it from me.
We didn't hear it from you. But, what that really does, though, is it's going to put more onus on the brokers to do the right thing. Because in that situation, then you really are going to have to make a decision, if you're the loan broker, as to whether or not you'd like to send that customer to a more expensive financing option because you're going to get paid more. Because if you're looking and it's going to be apples to apples in terms of, hey, this guy needs $500,000, he can get it here or he can get it there. And this one's going to pay me 10 points and this one's going to pay me 1 point. And then the broker's really going to have to decide what's best for them, and whether or not that's also what's best for the customer. And hopefully those two things coincide, but I don't know that always will be the case.
And that's why I only work with a very small handful of actual loan brokers, because the vast majority of them, and I hate to say this, Alex, but there's some bad apples that have spoiled the bunch.
100%.
They're not out there in their customer's best interest. They're out there in their pocket's best interest, and they're trying to sell their clients a loan, a bank that's going to pay them the most, not a bank that's going to get the deal done, get it done at the best possible structure, the best expertise, the best everything. They're after their own pocket, and that's ruined the industry. You know, like you said, Alex, that's 100%. It's ruined the industry.
That's why I strongly believe I'm providing all of the options for that merchant. Okay. If the guy is bankable, you have to do it. Okay. Because otherwise he's not going to take a merchant cash advance, but at least you want to offer it. You know, you never know.
Merchant cash advance. What was that again?
Merchant
I'm
cash
teasing you.
advance.
It's revenue-based finance. It's
Revenue-based
rebranded.
finance. Can you do more than one? Can you do something
Funding.
like, can you stack them? Is that a thing?
Yes, there's a possibility, but any time I've seen more than two alternative products in the same deal, I get files with 5 of them, 6. I've seen it all.
I could get 6 MCAs stacked on top of each other in a big package. Like I can double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip.
And I'll tell you why I don't do that, because I'm not just, when it comes to MCA, I'm not just an MCA broker or stocker, whatever you call them. I'm a syndicate broker. I syndicate and I'll put my money where my mouth is. Okay. Like, I'll give you an example. When somebody's shopping for 150,000 and everybody's offering 18 months, but the merchant is like, I'm set on 24-month term. How do you make it happen? How do you make it happen? You put your own money into the deal. Okay. So if I have my own money in a deal, believe me, I'm gonna watch him like a hawk to make sure he doesn't take those stabs.
That's what makes you the man, Alex. That's what makes you reputable. That's what makes you honest. And that's what makes you a moral loan broker. That right there. That's right. I love to hear that. I love to hear guys like you say stuff like that.
One thing the SBA needs to address, and quiet is kept, and it's not a secret, there are a lot of SBA lenders and banks that own or are working with MCA companies. And we know a lot of the players out there, right? So, you know, we sit up here, we preach. I'm not calling any of it. None of us do on this show. But I'm saying there are a lot of them out there that either own MCA companies or work with that. So SBA's got to look at that too, right? We can't lend this money over here and then you're putting people in these products over there too. So it needs to.
What?
It needs to all.
You can't?
No, you shouldn't, in my opinion. In my opinion, you got to be either one or the other, at least from a bank standpoint. Now, if you're a loan broker like Roshko, that's your job. Place them in the right product. I feel like banking should be the best terms, rates, and options out there possible if you're coming to a bank or non-bank lender or credit union.
I want to say something, you know, in our industry, in business finance industry, what's missing is education. For the merchants, we'll write a blog, we'll spam, with our emails, deal funded this, deal funded that. But what do you do with the merchant once you already got them? We educate them on debt settlement companies. We'll educate them on those 5-6 months cash advances, because they get a phone call and it's going to tell them, hey, I'll give you 50,000 for 6 months. Yeah, it's going to be expensive, but then on the second round I'm going to give you 18 months and 24. Lying. So if you educate your customers, especially as a bank, okay, I think you're only going to benefit from it, because they're not going to get into dumb third, fourth, fifth position merchant cash advances, because that's what drives the business to the ground. So I think educating the customer after you get them funded, that's what needs to be done. In order, what you just said, you give them the best product, and then they get other alternative. But I had you asked the question, Chris, about actually Emily asked about the changes in the SBA fees. Back in the mortgage days, residential mortgages, we had a par rate, and then you had a yield spread. I'm surprised that SBA lending is not offering something like that. Okay, then let us earn our fee. If I can agree with the merchant and the merchant is willing to pay a little high rate, and I don't have to charge him any points, okay, why not have the option to upsell on a rate? I was surprised that, I've coming from the residential mortgages 15 years ago, longer, 17 years in it.
He feels like Kroge. He's doing the Kroge. 2008, 2001.
Hey man, those were the golden years of SBA.
Those were I was just
that's when bankers were bankers, man.
I was just trying to figure out how to tie my do-rag in 2000.
Dude, those were doing 3 martini lunches. I mean, are you kidding me? Those were the days, man. Off
Emily,
work at 1 p.m. on a Friday, out on the golf course by 2.
Emily, if you ever do,
I've lost all control. I've given
you should have just had Violet up here. You should have had Violet sitting in the chair.
2002, I was out on the golf course drinking 3 martinis for lunch, hanging out, passing by Emily's elementary school when she was in the 5th grade. It was a great time.
Hey, yo.
Violet's hosting the next episode. That's just it. Roshko, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I appreciate it, man. Good episode. We want to start doing this, having other perspectives in the industry too.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to send your topics and suggestions to the BDO show at artofsba.com. And check out our whole family of shows, SBA Today, live every week, and the Art of SBA Lending podcast. See you next time.